I'm on air. Hi, Raheel.
Hey, what's up? I guess we're just going to do the tech check right here, huh?
Yeah, mic check 1 2 1 2. Hey, so I wanted to ask you something. When your program has done well, okay, which I know hasn't been very often recently, but when your program's done well, do you find yourself nitpicking more because the stakes get higher, or do you find yourself actually enjoying the ride more?
Nitpicking for sure.
Why? Like, because I'm just saying how I'm enjoying this ride that A&M is on for however long it lasts, right? If it wins the national championship, if it goes deep in the playoffs, if it's an SEC, I'm having a lot of fun. But because of the stakes, I find myself like, oh, you can't do that against Ohio State. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they're winning games by 21 points on the road. Like, they're killing opponents, but yet I think it's sometimes the fear of the what if, and it shouldn't be that. It should be like, I don't care who we line up against. Let's freaking go.
Well, no, it's because you're also taking into account years of letdown, right? And you're like, well, this is where it's going to fall apart, or this is going to happen. And you just always have that in the back of your mind. I know in the last 2 years with Texas, every time I would watch, I'm like, they're a good team. But then when they line up against the best teams, they were usually outmatched or didn't look as good or couldn't hold up their end of the bargain. And you start nitpicking that and you go, I don't think they're that good. Like, even last year, I was upfront about, I don't think this offense is that good. And sure enough, the offense was the issue when Ohio State, you had a chance to tie them and you couldn't get 1 yard, or against Oklahoma or against Arizona State. You know, you go, wow, that was a struggle. And then finally the offense gets it going and Quinn throws a beautiful ball to get the miraculous comeback win, all that stuff. But yeah, you always nitpick. I think the only time you don't is when you look at a team, and the only reference point I have is 2005, right? When I saw the 2004 team, I'm like, oh, they've done what they needed to. And this 2005 team, the potential national champions, they are legit. And there was no nitpicking. It was just like, oh, they are the best team. And we just got to get to USC and that's it. So I think you have to have some kind of data point before to like really feel confident.
Well, so this came up organically with Marty Smith, and I think it's my dear friend Marty Smith, as I name drop. But I feel like when you are someone's dad, someone's brother, someone's bestie, a part of a group, you can nitpick. It's cool. Like, I can make fun of Billy, like and he can make fun of me and his brothers, right? Like, we can do it to each other. You make fun of me, I make fun of you. Same thing, right? But God forbid somebody from Orange Bloods talk some trash. God forbid an Oklahoma fan talk some trash, because he is not in my community. He can't. No. I can nitpick. You can't. Sorry.
And that's more college football more than anything, because nitpicking in the NBA, no one cares. No one gets super upset about, let's say, an Oklahoma City fan nitpicking on the Rockets, right? Because I don't think there is that true blood passion for those teams as it is for college football, because college football is so deeply personal, deeply experience-based. You were at that school. You went there. You have connections to it for the most part, right? Like, some people just root for whatever team. That's fine. But I think it's college football specific. I don't see that happening in the NFL as much. Now, with those die-hard rivalries like Green Bay and Chicago, I'm sure they get really riled up, right? If a Green Bay fan nitpicks a Chicago fan, whatever. But I think that's college football specific. And I think it's even more like message board specific. That's a culture that college football has created.
Yeah, no, and I think you're right about college football brings that out. And part of it is because the imperfect system that it is, right? For years, most of my life, people voted on the champion. That's so stupid.
Well, no, remember we had the computers for a long time.
The computers at least take data.
Yeah, that was the worst one, because the algorithm was put in by somebody, and we didn't know what exactly was in the algorithm, what was actually accounted for, what wasn't. At least with the voters, we're like, okay, we can point to this person and be like, what were you thinking? In the computer, what are you going to blame? The Terminator? Like, who do you blame?
You worry about AI taking over?
No, I don't.
You know,
I don't.
they're coming for us.
I don't think AI is going to take over like the Terminator, but I think it's already happening. It's not I think. They are replacing jobs that can be automated, which is unfortunate. I don't know if you saw this. Amazon got rid of a huge chunk of their workforce because they are investing so much into robotics and AI being able to just do the jobs that normal workers could do. So, you know, like there's a big Amazon warehouse plant right by my house, like huge. It's, 10 football fields. And how many workers are in there? There's thousands of cars there all the day, like all the time throughout the day. And now it's getting less and less because they're automating it. So that kind of sucks. Like you're losing jobs, but then we're saving on the consumer end. So, it's kind of like what's better for us?
What about Pablo, the AI guy who eventually is like, look, I can just take over this world and I can shut off water. I can do whatever I want because But can you just unplug it? We should probably get back to college football, but it was
you
just
probably can. Without those big data warehouses that take up so much of the water and the electricity, AI is not you can't exist without electricity.
Can't you just unplug the AI?
Unplug it.
Just unplug the AI. Like, okay,
just unplug it.
Boom,
unplug
done.
it.
They can't make it happen.
It can't power itself up. It can't physically go turn on the lights. So yeah, you just unplug it.
So how much A&M football do you consume? I mean, I don't assume it's that much, but do you watch? I mean, I'm sure you watched the Notre Dame game. You watched enough?
Yeah, I'll watch. I'll watch it in background viewing unless I'm really hyped up for a game. Like this past weekend, Texas wasn't playing, and I was also busy with a lot of family stuff, so I didn't sit down and watch the game. But I had it on in the background, and it was there, and it got kind of boring pretty fast for me. So do you I put up the 4 screens, and it was just like it was there.
Do you take points away from them for going on the road and beating a Missouri team that's offense was inefficient? Or do you say, no, A&M is the reason the offense was inefficient. What did they do against Vanderbilt the week prior?
No, you don't take points away. I'm sorry. Injuries are part of the sport. And the offense, if it wasn't good, then it wasn't good. That's unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which side you are, that is the draw of the schedule, right? And the luck of the schedule almost, that if Missouri and A&M faced each other in the first SEC game for both teams, would it be a little different? Probably. I think A&M still wins that game. I think A&M is a more complete team, although Missouri's defensive line is nasty and they get after people. It's pretty sick. But I think Texas A&M would have won that game regardless. So that's part of the schedule. So no, I don't take away points. I don't do that. But I know for you, as you're watching every play, you're 100% in. The nitpicking is why you're watching this game, and you're trying to figure out, like, how is this going to play out against Ohio State? But then are you also watching every single Ohio State game, right? Like every single play where you can nitpick them. So that's kind of like where I'm torn on that.
Hey, by the way, you know that A&M they haven't made anything, but they're on their way when Ohio State fans start watching the show and constantly interacting with A&M stuff on Twitter. They've had no reason to, but they must feel a little bit worried about what A&M is doing and how close the Texas game was when Arch was starting. Diddy Prylover is his name on the YouTube page. His name is Diddy Prylover. First off, he says, and it's been muted out, I want to kiss Raheel. That's interesting. He might be a friend of yours. But he also says, listening to college football, Texas A&M college football talk is like being stuck in the middle of a special ed 4th grade classroom. But Diddy Prylover, who uses a fake name, who's got no life and no friends, and is an Ohio State fan, because I already can see his entire profile because I have access to that, you can eat a bag of donuts too, and now you've been blocked. You can watch the show, you just can't comment. How about that?
Oh, come on.
No. Don't.
You get hurt. You get upset and hurt more about comments than anybody I know. Like, it's not even close.
I love it.
I don't care
you know why
anymore.
I love it so much, Raheel?
Why?
Because I honestly believe this. Nick has heard it 1,000 times. He's like, I've heard this, Nuño, it's enough. But I honestly believe most people are actually good people in person. They become this fake tough guy. By the way, I'm also a fake tough guy. Admit it. But I am about that life. I'm willing to find out. Most people will not go up to you. By the way, I don't say mean things to people. I don't. Right? I don't comment on Stephen A. Smith. I don't really like his shtick very much, right? But I don't like send him mean messages. I just don't. I have no desire to. And if I did it in front of him, I would expect him to beat me down or attempt. I've seen him box. Not very good.
Yeah. Mm.
But whatever. We're just having fun here.
Yeah, that's it.
So, okay, so just kind of sum up where we are. poking holes, totally normal in college football, because I think I can poke holes at Ohio State. I do think they're probably the best team in football. They won the national championship. They keep winning. Their biggest game was a win over a Texas team that I'm still like TBD about, because they're in the top 10.
Yes.
But it's weird to be in the top 10 with 9 games in and still not really know if I know them. I think I know A&M. I think A&M can beat anybody in the country. Will that mean that they'll beat anybody in the country? No. But I think the way they play football, I think is a very winning brand of football. I look at Texas and I'm like, their highs are so high because when I say so high, but I think beating Vanderbilt the way they did, and I know there was a comeback at the end, and beating Oklahoma the way they did, those are statement wins, regardless if I'm going to give A&M credit. But I also think Kentucky, like that's not like impressive what you did there. It is impressive going on the road at night in the SEC. I'm still on that team. But the Mississippi State comeback, well, is impressive what they did, no doubt, because they came back. But it's freaking Mississippi State, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm not sure I know Texas. I think I know A&M. I think I know Ohio State. I don't know their schedule is all that difficult. I don't think so. But they're worthy of the ranking. Indiana, I'm a believer in Indiana because of what they did last year, what they've done so far this year. But the overreaction to the victory over Penn State, which was a beautiful play to win at the end.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Was that the best catch you've ever seen?
No, I'm going to give Nate Borkature the best catch I've ever seen against Notre Dame. That's what I'm going to do. That's how I operate. It was beautiful.
I don't think so.
In the lights.
I mean, it was a good catch.
What do you mean good? If it was a good catch. If it was whoever on Texas, Malcolm Gladwell, that's the guy who wrote the tipping point.
The guy who wrote the books.
And
it's a good catch.
Great catch.
It was not the greatest catch.
Oh,
that was. I can't think of a more great catch. Like with everything at stake, the way he just got the toe in.
That was pretty okay. It's pretty amazing.
Catch.
But sorry,
was the greatest catch.
Nate Borkature is a blocking tight end. I'm sorry that the wide receiver that is supposed to catch balls and keep his foot on the line did it. And Nate Borkature, a tight end who we were told was a blocking tight end from Nebraska. All he does is block. Much bigger moment against a much bigger opponent. Bam.
Yeah.
Shazam. What I was going to say about that whole thing, though, was about what was I talking about? Oh, I think there's been an overreaction to Indiana's win over Penn State. Well, I think it was great. And an underreaction to A&M's win over LSU, because LSU was still a top 15 team when A&M did it on the road at LSU, a place they hadn't won, okay? And people were like, it's just LSU. They're terrible. Who cares? LSU could have very easily, a player or two differently, have a completely different record. Facts. But when Indiana does it to Penn State, whose season's already done, who's already fired their coach, they're already a train wreck, it's like, oh my God. I broke the mic. Heisman level moment. It was beautiful. Like Mendoza had a rough game until that moment, right? It was pedestrian for his standards, and he made the game-winning play. But I think people love to analyze things through this one lens, but they don't apply it to everybody else. You know, what you say about A&M, apply it to Indiana. What you say about Indiana, apply it to A&M.
I was not on Twitter as much this week for College Football Saturday. It's one of my favorite things, but again, I was busy with other stuff. So I didn't see this reaction that like, oh my God, what a win for Indiana. This was a career-defining moment and Heisman moment, all that. I just personally took it as, hey, in any season, you're going to have one of those games where you're going to get caught against a team that you should not be struggling with. It seems like it happens to every championship caliber team, all right? That's part of it. Guess what? Teams get up to play you, even if it's Penn State, who really has nothing left to play for, right? I took it as that. I didn't take it as a big moment or anything. To me, the big moment is going to be when they play Ohio State, if that game happens. That's going to be the big moment. Like, that will be my Heisman moment for Mendoza. Like, okay, now it's like, okay, you beat them. That's like, you've earned it. That is your moment. Because what other moments have they had, really?
Okay,
right.
Well, let me ask you, though, who has Indiana beat this year that you're impressed by? And I mean, they have some impressive wins, but I'm just like, because, again, the nitpicking about people's victories.
Sure.
Right? Like who have they beat? Somebody was talking about who A&M's beat combined record. Have you seen what the record is of Indiana's?
No, what is it?
I mean, I think going to Oregon and winning is a huge deal, by the way. So I'm giving them credit for that. They went to Oregon.
And you won by 10 points. So it was, it was handed.
I think that's a big deal. But let's just kind of go through, because again, I try to look at things. If I'm going to give A&M the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to try to give the same benefit of the doubt of the other team. And if you're going to be critical of my team, I'm going to be critical of your team, right? That's just kind of like even Steven Seinfeld episode. Old Dominion, okay, they won 27-14. Kennesaw State, 56. By the way, I do think Indiana is one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the country. But I'm trying to use the same.
But Nuño, you can skip all of that. I think it just goes to the ranked opponents, right? Illinois at the time, which again,
but
going
people are taking away A&M. That's what people take away from A&M, ranked opponents at the time.
No, but let's play that. Let's apply your logic here, though. Let's apply that. Okay, let's apply the lens here for both teams. At the time, that was a game, was a top 10. I believe Illinois was 9 and Indiana was 6. No, it was no. Indiana was 19 at the time, so it was a top 25 matchup. Indiana was number 19.
They killed
Illinois
them.
Was number 9.
They scored 63 on them. Okay.
It was a butt whooping, right?
Yep.
Like it wasn't even close. Like that's an impressive win. That is huge.
Okay. But is Illinois ranked right now?
They are not ranked, right?
Okay.
I don't think they are.
I don't think so either. But
because they're 6-3, I don't think they are.
But again, my point is that people take away victories from A&M because they're not ranked anymore. But at the time, they were. Okay, they beat Iowa. I don't think Iowa was ranked at the time, but that's an impressive win. I'm sorry, Iowa's a good team. They won 20-15. They beat Oregon. Deserve all the credit in the world for beating a top 10 Oregon team at Oregon, no doubt. Michigan State, are they any good? They're not.
No, I don't think they're that good. No.
UCLA, are they any good?
No, they're not good.
Okay, just making sure. Maryland, are they any good?
No, they're not good.
Penn State, are they any good?
No,
I give them credit for the Penn. I do give them more credit than others do for Penn State, I think, because
they came back and they won that game still.
Right. So again, people are saying that Auburn and LSU and Florida. I'm a believer those teams, you prop them out of this conference and put them in other conferences, like Texas Tech. Texas Tech's having a really good season. I think they're a deadly matchup for some teams in the playoffs. I do think that, right? But that all being said, who have they beat? They beat 2 Utah schools? Are those Utah?
They beat BYU, which was top 10 last week, right?
Yeah. But do you really think that BYU is really a top 10 team? Really, you really think so?
At last week, yes. Yeah, I thought they were a top 10 team. Like they had at that point, yes, they were a top 10 team. When it's all said and done, no, I don't think they'll be a top 10 team. But
you really think they look like a top? Hey, let me bring this up. Hey, Nick, Pete Fiutak says he doesn't have the link. Did you send it to him? Oh, did you send it to me?
No, I haven't sent it. I'll send it right now.
Okay. Yeah,
I didn't know he's on the show, to be completely honest with you. I didn't know that.
Thanks for looking at the rundown.
I do. I had it up. I just didn't see you at him. Sorry.
By the way, I have to do Gordy's show right after this, so we'll keep it kind of
for sure.
Quiet.
I'm glad Pete's going to be on. I haven't talked to him in a while.
No, he's the best.
We used to have him on all the time.
I love Pete Fiutak. So I don't know. And by the way, he lives in Chicago, if I remember correctly. I'm very interested in what his perspective is of the Big Ten and the SEC, because I think he's got a lot of ties to the Big Ten. He can kind of break down his thoughts on it.
Nuño, can I give one piece of advice for this season for you?
Sure.
I don't think the nitpicking, I don't think the comparing of the resumes, all that matters much, because A&M is a top 4 team and they're going to control their own destiny.
Agreed.
When it's all said and done, they might be number 2 in the nation. So none of this matters, right? They could be number 2. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you will literally, if you win football games, you will win a national championship.
I agree with you, but
there's no.
But it makes for fun sports 11
talk. Team or 12, then I would be like, yeah, have this conversation. You are in the driver's seat where you can win the SEC title, and then be number 2 behind Ohio State if Ohio State wins out.
By the way, it looks like Dino Catrino, who's watching the show. What's up, Dino? Shout out. He says, I'm looking lean. And my question to you before we get Pete Fiutak on the show is, I've had a couple people tell me I look skinnier than normal. And in fact, somebody on the TexAgs postgame rap said I was looking like Skeletor with the lights at Missouri. Do I look like, I've been running a lot more because I've been trying to get in triathlon shape. Do I look that much skinnier?
No. In fact, the other day, Lance Zerline, our friend, sent me a picture of you and was like, man, Nuño's looking jacked.
Oh, that was kind
And
of
then he
him.
made a joke. Of course, Granado made a joke like Nuño's wearing the smalls,
Yeah, of course.
this medium still. So of course, but yeah, I think
I can, and Granado can't. But Pete Fiutak can. What's up, Pete?
I'm not looking jacked. It's now the football season 15's kicking in, so I haven't had time to go work out like necessary. I need a couple more weeks, and then I'll get there again.
You're almost there. Almost there.
Hey, Pete. So thanks for joining us on this show. This is a different show that we this is not TexAgs Live that you join us on often. Raheel and I do this show on Mondays where we just kind of sit and chat and kind of shoot the breeze here about college football. I wanted to start things off with you about like when comparing resumes. Okay. Everybody's so defensive. I'm defensive about A&M, Indiana fans, Ohio State. Everybody's defensive, right? And I get it. It's part of the charm of college football. When you hear people poke holes at A&M who they've beaten, well, Auburn's no good, and Florida's no good, and Mississippi State's no good. Okay, maybe that's the truth, okay? But it feels like, at least at this chair, that not that same level of skepticism is used on Texas Tech, is not used on Indiana, and I think Ohio State has earned their right, and someone's going to have to go take them from the throne. But I can also say it about them, like who's Ohio State beat? They beat Texas. I was saying earlier, and Raheel went to Texas. I still don't know if I know Texas well yet either, and we're 9 games in.
There's two parts to this. As we sit here shooting the breeze, as you'd say, on November 10th, if you're undefeated in a power conference, who cares?
Thank you.
Okay, so oh no, your schedule's not great. What do you care? If you go, all you have to do, because here's what we know. If, assuming the committee's going by what they've done since 2014 when we started this whole thing up, get to 10-2. If you are a Power 4 conference, this year team, and you are 10-2, you at least get close. If you're 9 wins, don't even go to the bouncer. You're not getting in the club. It ain't happening. Not this year. 11 wins, especially from the SEC, you're absolutely in. Doesn't matter who you beat along the way. The committee likes to justify wins. That's why SMU got in last year, because they could justify power conference 11-win team. A little easier to do, even though Alabama really deserved to be in, but that's another day. The question is, and you're kind of bringing this up, well, what constitutes a good win right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's good? Like, I don't think the SEC is all that great. But if your worst team, they don't have an Oklahoma State. You don't have a true layup team. So if your worst team is Arkansas, and you have a Kentucky that comes up and rises up and beats Florida last week. I mean, there might not be a killer, but you don't have any true free space games here. But if Indiana's not, if you don't believe in Indiana, okay, Ohio State's great. Okay, then who else is there? So really, again, long-winded way of saying, if you're Texas A&M and you're unbeaten right now, just go win your games and you'll get the 2 seed. You'll be fine no matter what.
Enjoy the ride.
But I am enjoying the ride. I am.
Enjoy the ride. And I literally said that to Nuño before you jumped on, Pete. With all that being said, and I agree with you.
Here we go. Whole poker.
The resume talk does heat up, because if Indiana loses to Ohio State, A&M loses to Alabama in the SEC title game, right? If that's the matchup, and they both have 1 loss, then who goes higher in the seeding of the playoffs?
Okay, so let's start with this. We can get theoretical here, because obviously you want to beat Texas. I'm not going to say, obviously, I'm never going to say Texas A&M, you don't care about Texas, because for some people this means more than a national championship. It's the exact same argument I have with Ohio State people. Like, the best thing that happened to Ohio State last year was to lose to Michigan. They don't want to believe it. They yell at me and stuff, but that actually turns out the one thing you don't want right now in the world of the new college football playoff is to lose your conference championship game. That's the worst of all possible worlds, because unless you're in Ohio State, Indiana, because if they're both 12-0, the loser's probably the 4 seed. The SEC conference champion probably gets the 5. So a conference champion loser probably gets the 5 or the 6, which you do not want this year, because last year, if you remember, Penn State lost the Big Ten championship. So they had the extra game, but they got the kids' table games against Boise State and SMU. This year, that's not going to happen, because the 4 seeds are higher up. So when you're saying who wants to be higher up, the problem with that is the 8, 9-ish seeds probably going to be the 8 ACC champion. You want that team. So that's the only reason why you want to be maybe the 1. The scary part is the way I think this is going to shake out, the 2 isn't that great because I think what's going to happen is because of your guys, because of Texas A&M. Remember how the college football playoff does this, and they did this 2 years ago, why Florida State was rightly left out, because you had to put in Michigan, had to put Washington, had to put in Alabama for beating Georgia, which meant you had to put in Texas. Okay, there's your 4. This year, if South Florida wins the American Conference Championship, which it will, it should roll through this, they're in. Notre Dame's going to go 10-2. The committee's going to want to put them in. If you put those 2 teams in, you've got to put in Miami because they throttled South Florida and they beat Notre Dame. That's how they're going to see it on the metrics, which means all of a sudden to make this work, how they do, remember, they throw out all these rankings and they start from scratch. And at the very end, they take the whole body of the work, which means then Miami's 10, Notre Dame's 11, South Florida 12. Ooh. You do not want Notre Dame now again. Texas A&M got by them once. You do not want them again. And so if you can avoid that. So in question of the higher seedings, really all you want to do is not lose your conference championship games because that means you get one more game that you have to play because you don't get that bye in the college football playoff. And again, it's not the worst thing in the world to not play in the conference championship game because you could get Carson Beck, and you lose your starting quarterback. Look what happened to Georgia. I still think they lose to Notre Dame, but you don't want that to happen.
Pete, what's going to happen with? I'll give you 2 games: A&M and Lenore Sellers. I know A&M should win; they're 9-0. They should go to 10-0, but Lenore Sellers killed them. And then after that, if you can, Georgia, Texas. As I mentioned, Raheel's a Texas guy. Texas has got to go to Georgia, and I think Georgia's figured things out. Has Texas?
So basically, for Texas, the game will have to speak a little slower if you're a Texas guy. I'm not going to use the big words and all that. So look, South Carolina just doesn't have the lines. At this point, they're not going to go to a bowl game unless something miraculous happens. They're just not getting enough push from that offensive front. Sellers is not getting enough help. So really, these are the dog days of the season. This is where, if you're just trying to hang on, you're trying to keep everyone healthy. And, if you're in the investment world, this is the prime time for the annual double-digit home dogs, which you're not going to be this. But, where all of a sudden teams just don't play. Look at Wisconsin beating Washington last week. All the dogs cover. Penn State almost beat Indiana. So this is where everyone's just trying to get through the day. And if you're Texas A&M, obviously – you got the Samford break coming up, right after that. So just get through this game and you're in the college football playoff because there's no way at 11-1, if you lose to Texas, you're not in the college football playoff. So this is it. This is your one game. If you get through this, it's exhale. So, but again, South Carolina is going to bring everything at the wall because they got nothing else to lose. Texas A&M is going to have to lose this because South Carolina can't beat Texas A&M right now.
Perfectly said. Nuño, I know you have to get going, so do we want to wrap? What's your ETA looking like?
Yeah, I got to do an interview at 1:05. I feel terrible because Pete was supposed to be on at 12:45, and at 12:49, we hadn't sent him the link yet. But Pete's my guy. Hey, Pete, just overall.
Hey, Georgia's going to beat Texas. There, I'll be quick on you. Georgia beats Texas, but it'll be tough because Texas is a lot better now.
Hey, so let me close out with this. How much do you believe in A&M and Elko now? Like in years past, you've wanted to believe they've kind of November's been an issue. They've started off November great this year. How much do you believe in them actually having a legitimate chance to win a national championship?
I would just, at this point, just get to the Final Four. We have to kind of, change the dynamics here because winning a national championship requires a whole lot of luck, especially in this tournament because you can't luck your way into this like you can in college basketball. You can't just get hot for a few games. You have to be legitimately awesome now, especially with a new season, you get to the Final Four. So as long as they get to the Final Four, that's good enough and, take your chances that you might win the national championship. But yeah, at the very least, now you're in the mix for the national title legitimately, and you've got the best team probably in the SEC right now.
Pete, great stuff, man. College football news. We'll get you on TexAgs Live soon. All right, buddy?
Anytime, guys. You have a good
Thanks,
one.
Pete.
Appreciate it. And Raheel, we need to close out with a little love for Chance McClain and Heritage Films. I was talking about, I've done this already, this bit once. It's a terrible bit. Can I do it with you? I'll just do it again. Because maybe a different audience since your friends are watching. So this shirt is from Duck Camp. I love Duck Camp, okay? Duck Camp's a proud sponsor of TexAgs. And this is about Heritage Films, but I'm just telling you, this is the Heritage Film version of this shirt, okay? The documentary starts like this. We get to Missouri, to Columbia, and I'm in a T-shirt, and I changed into this shirt. and I walk to the stadium, and then I find myself seeing everybody wearing yellow. And this isn't yellow, but it's close enough to yellow that, like, I don't want to hear from people.
Looks like Missouri yellow. It
Right?
looks like Missouri yellow.
So I get to the stadium. Of course, I take off my shirt and let the world see, and I change shirts. So I wore it today because I liked the shirt so much, but I couldn't wear. My plan was to wear it there. I was going to debut it, for a game, for the post-game show and the tailgate show, but I couldn't do it. So if Chance McClain were to tell this story, it would probably start at the lab at Duck Campus or creating it, and it would kind of go through this whole thing and me wearing it today. But Chance and Heritage Films, they do ranch stories, they do documentaries about families, everything else, right, Raheel?
And here's what they'll do. If you do purchase a Heritage film, then they'll reach out to you and say, hey, I need that picture of Nuño changing so we can add it to the documentary. Or can I get that video from Instagram that Nuño posted? And they send you this box and a digital box as well. You upload your documents, they take care of the rest. And it is fantastic. I do want to mention another thing that they do that we haven't talked about as much. If you have kids who are 10 or older, highly recommend doing a YourFlix. And what that is, they will interview your kid, or YourFlix, excuse me.
YourFlix,
yeah, they'll interview your kid and ask them all these important questions. Who's your favorite musician, favorite artist? What's your favorite memory? And they will do this every year for you. And then you go back and watch it and see the evolution of your child. And that's something that you can give them as well when they get older. So then they can post it for 18 likes on Instagram. So they will do that for you. I mean, let's be honest. It's going to be like 18 likes. But yeah, your Heritage Film is where you start for your family documentaries, your flicks, and of course your farm and ranch films as well.
Hey, that shirt that Granado was making fun of me in, is it like a recent picture? Do I look good? Good.
I have the receipts. I'll just send it to you because I knew you would ask. I already pulled it up.
It might be a schmedium. Hey,
I knew as soon as I said it, I was like, I know he's going to ask for the picture. I have it somewhere.
But I used to be 150 pounds. Now I'm not. So now the shirts that I used to wear, I just can't wear them anymore. But guess what? I still wear them.
Yeah. I've added a little bit more mass, but I can't wear mediums anymore, and I hate it.
Oh.
I like a good medium. I need a large now.
Depends on the brand.
I don't wear anything.
There's certain brands you can still do mediums. I'll hook you up.
No, I need large everything now.
Oh.
I want a little baggier fit.
I'm sure we lost our entire audience if we have one.
That happened in the first minute when somebody said they wanted to kiss me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's flying with your audience.
Diddy Pryor, whatever. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow on TexAgs Live. Thanks, Raheel.